ABC7 Bangor.
This is ABC7 News at Noon.
We'll have the latest on a fire at the corner store in Howland last night. Good afternoon. I'm Susan Farley. The Maine Supreme Judicial Court heard oral arguments asking for the resentencing of a man convicted of an Aroostook County murder. And gubernatorial candidate Paul LePage is predicting a heating oil crisis in Maine this winter. Thank you for joining us. We'll have more on these and other stories in just a moment. First, let's check in with meteorologist Devin Biggs. Devin?
Hey Susan, happy Thursday afternoon, and your first weather forecast brought to you by Luigi and Fredericks, across from Eastern Maine Medical Center, serving the greater Bangor area for over 65 years. Alrighty, here we are. We have some clouds that have been approaching from the northern parts of the state this morning. We had some over us as well, but otherwise, we're going to be watching for a mixture of clouds and sunshine overall. It's going to be a pretty nice day again with high pressure right overhead. We're going to stay dry for the next several days, though. Only a small chance of rain in the forecast for the near future, and that comes up close to your Sunday. But a few clouds on the way today. Tonight we become mostly clear, but notice this right here. That is some areas of fog that will develop as we head towards overnight tonight and in parts of tomorrow morning, so be careful with that as you do head out the door. As for the wind, not too bad, though. That could reach up to around 5 to 10, maybe some higher gusts from time to time, miles per hour. So overall, we're not going to be too bad, but we'll notice a little bit of wind from time to time moving forward. So for today, that gust can reach up to 20 miles per hour. We'll have temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s with a few clouds, and of course, it being breezy from time to time, too. For tonight, we'll be mostly clear with areas of dense fog, lows in the lower 40s. Southwest breeze at about 5 miles per hour, but other areas, though, could see some higher gusts up to 15 miles per hour at times. For tomorrow, middle 60s, partly cloudy. That southwest wind getting up to about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That hourly forecast for the rest of the afternoon period, a lot of sunshine and a few passing clouds. Temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Susan?
Thank you, Devin. There are still few details about a devastating fire in the town of Howland. Fire crews were called to the heart of the town after 9 o'clock last night. Howland's corner store caught fire and was burning quickly. Firefighters from several towns rushed to the scene and began fighting the flames. As you can see from this video, smoke and flames were pouring from the building. Fire crews remained on the scene well into the night. We'll have more information on the fire as it becomes available. One of Philadelphia's most wanted fugitives has been found and arrested here in Maine by Auburn police. Police say around 11 o'clock Tuesday night, 43-year-old Earl Hassan was arrested as a fugitive of justice stemming from a homicide warrant issued for him out of Philadelphia. They say Hassan was a passenger in a vehicle that was stopped for an expired registration on Kitty Hawk Avenue. Despite Hassan initially presenting a fake ID, police were able to confirm his true identity and arrested him. They also seized crack cocaine and $25,000 in suspected drug proceeds from him. Information from the traffic stop then led to the execution of a search warrant at a nearby residence where police say they seized approximately a pound of cocaine and drug paraphernalia. Hassan will be referred for federal drug charges and is currently being held at the Androscoggin County Jail without bail, pending an extradition hearing. The Maine Supreme Judicial Court heard oral arguments asking for the resentencing of a convicted murderer. Devin Dagnall has the latest.
After nearly a year from his retrial and conviction, the Maine Supreme Court heard oral arguments for the reason Marcus Asante should be given a different sentence. Asante was convicted for the murder and robbery of Douglas Morin Jr. He was sentenced to 55 years in prison. During his trial and retrial, Asante claimed that he shot Morin in self-defense after their drug deal went bad. It was ruled that the killing was not in self-defense because Asante also stole drugs from Morin. Rory McNamara, Asante's lawyer, believes that Asante was wrongfully convicted of the robbery because he had no intention of stealing the drugs until after the murder occurred, and that the two crimes were not related.
A Bradley jury instruction was given, which informed jurors that if there was a robbery at any time, there could be no self-defense. That means jurors were allowed to convict for murder even if the death was not intentional or knowing.
Donald W. McComber, the representative for the state of Maine, argues that the resentencing is not needed because there is nothing wrong with the current one.
There's nothing unconstitutional about the sentence that Marcus Asante received here. He was convicted of intentional and knowing a murder.
In his rebuttal, McNamara stated that the case should not be decided solely on the crime itself, but the situation surrounding it as well. We are currently awaiting the court's decision. In Bangor, I'm Devin Dagnall. Reporting for ABC7 and Fox 22.
A judge sentenced a Skowhegan man for scamming the Paycheck Protection Program. Nathan Reardon pleaded guilty to 5 counts of bank fraud in July as part of a plea agreement that dismissed several other charges against him. Reardon submitted fraudulent applications for PPP loans and direct loans from the Small Business Administration. He also provided false information on the applications. Reardon's attorney said they were disappointed Reardon was not allowed to go home following the sentencing. Reardon was sentenced to 20 months behind bars with 3 years of supervised release. He was also ordered to pay back the loan which he received, which was amounted to nearly $60,000. Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, a company is trying to help the victims of Monday's fire in Levant. We'll have the details when we return.
Jared Golden and the Democrats by the numbers. The worst inflation in 40 years. Home heating, groceries, gasoline, all through the roof. 87,000 new IRS agents. $20 billion in new taxes on the middle class. All because 83% of the time, Jared Golden votes with Biden and Pelosi. On November 8, stop the Democrats' war on the middle class. Defeat Jared Golden. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Our Medicare supplement and drug coverage is so expensive, we're barely keeping up with our bills.
My husband and I were in the same situation. So I got some help from the Senior Planning Center. They were able to show us some high-quality Medicare Advantage plans that saved us a lot of money.
The Senior Planning Center, tell me more.
They have helpful agents all over the state. Real Mainers helping Mainers. Give them a call. The Senior Planning Center. They were there to help when it mattered most. I'm glad I called them. You'll be glad too.
However you spend your day, spend it in style. At Label Shopper, you'll find designer brands for 30 to 70% less than department stores. With prices this low, you can grab all your favorite styles.
Label Shopper, great clothes, great prices.
I'm Jim with Lowry & Associates. Winning car accident cases is what we do. Check out a few of our big wins.
I injured my torso, and they got me $195,000. What did the twos do for you?
I needed foot surgery, and they got me $215,000. What did the twos do for you?
I broke multiple bones, and Lowry & Associates got me $450,000.
Call the twos. We win for you.
If you're hurt in an accident, what do? Call 222-2222.
I am so fearful this winter for oil prices.
We can't go on like this.
Jared Golden's votes are definitely making inflation worse.
Jared Golden is not independent.
Golden and Biden are lockstep.
I'm a Marine Corps veteran, and I cannot support Jared Golden.
We need to make a change. Maine needs Bruce Poliquin.
Bruce Poliquin is concerned with Maine people of all walks of life.
I know Bruce Poliquin cares for Maine, and I know he'll fight for us.
I'm Bruce Poliquin, and I approve this message.
Hi, I'm Angelina Mucci.
And I'm Andy Mucci of Family Fun Bowling Center.
When we want to know the weather, we go to foxbangor.com.
Celebrating our 50th anniversary year, Family Fun Bowling Center has 20 lanes of 10-pin bowling at its best.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
A man accused of crashing his truck into a house in Old Town and leaving the scene has been indicted by the Penobscot County Grand Jury. According to police, 57-year-old Roger Eldridge of Greenbush crashed his pickup into an Old Town police speed radar trailer and then into a house before running into the woods in August. No one in the house was hurt. Eldridge was indicted on several charges, including driving to endanger, aggravated criminal mischief, and leaving the scene of an accident. The grand jury also indicted 37-year-old Colby Gilligan of Glenburn for arson. According to the Penobscot County District Attorney's Office, Gilligan allegedly set his Pushaw Road home on fire in July. He told investigators he left a candle burning and woke up to a curtain on fire, which spread to the rest of the room. His father contacted the fire marshal's office and shared text messages that said Gilligan intended to set his house on fire. And a Brewer man who was accused of leading police on a high-speed chase before crashing his truck into a garage was also indicted. 19-year-old Kay Preston was indicted on numerous charges, including eluding an officer, reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon, driving to endanger, and operating after suspension. Police say troopers called off the chase from Herman to Bangor because of safety reasons. They found his truck crashed into a garage on Randolph Street in Bangor. Former governor and current candidate Paul LePage was at Dysart's in Herman Wednesday, along with District 2 candidate Bruce Poliquin. They were talking about what they called an impending heating oil crisis this winter. LePage says the state is facing a crisis in terms of heating oil, kerosene, and diesel fuel. He said President Biden needs to release millions of gallons of heating oil so that Mainers will have what they need to heat their homes. LePage pointed out that 60% of Maine homes are heated with oil and said that lives could be on the line come winter. He also strongly advocated for repealing LD 99, which is a bill that requires the state to divest itself of assets invested in fossil fuel industry over time. Governor Mills' re-election campaign responded to LePage's remarks, saying her administration has been working on the winter heating issue and others for weeks now, and they will continue to work on them to ensure that Maine people are able to stay safe and warm in their homes this winter. The statement said in part, quote, Governor Mills is way ahead of Paul LePage with respect to kerosene. The administration worked with the EPA, who determined that a waiver is not necessary and that kerosene may be imported. Her administration has already been in contact and is working with the EPA to determine what documentation is necessary for the EPA to be able to grant the waiver related to heating oil, end quote. The campaign also said that Governor Mills has already successfully pressed for additional heating assistance from the federal government. Maine Housing has advanced $11 million in heating relief funds to nearly 11,000 households, of which 7,200 are seniors age 65 and older. A couple in Levant is making a difference in their community, one stitch at a time. Matthew Duronsik has more.
It's almost cathartic. It's doing one little thing, the only thing that you can do, but it probably helps them feel better as well as helping the family.
What started off as Tracy Seymour sewing protective face masks and scrub caps for nurses during the pandemic has now grown to include embroidering T-shirts and hats as a way to rally support for a family in the Levant community after a fire destroyed their home.
We've always had that strong need to help people. So whenever something like this strikes a community, it really strikes home.
Partnering with her husband, Jason, they got the operation up and running in just 24 hours.
I just wanted to do something for the family. I just wanted to do something to show that we are all in this together, because it could have been us.
The family is currently embroidering T-shirts that say Levant Strong, as well as ball caps that say Community Strong.
I was thinking Levant Strong, but Maine is a community in and of itself. And I wanted something that, say, somebody from Bangor or somebody from Portland could buy and be like, we're supporting this family.
The Seymours say that while the fundraising is important, they're also just trying to let the family that they are not alone.
I mean, it's not the fact that we're selling hats or that we're selling T-shirts, because that's in the grand scheme of things, that's minor. It's the fact that the community is coming together as a whole to help, but it's nice to know that we come together in times like this.
And if you're interested in buying apparel, you can actually buy one of these T-shirts for $13, and $9 of the dollars will actually go back to the family. Or you could buy one of these hats for $20, and more than half will go back to the family. Reporting for Levant, Matthew Duronsik, ABC7 and Fox 22.
Those interested in purchasing apparel can reach out to Seymour Embroidery on Facebook or check out the company's website at seymourembroidery.com. When we return, there's new evidence that high prices could be around for a while. That's next. We'll be right back.
Saliba's Rug Cleaners in Bangor is the best and only spot you should go to for your rug cleanings. Serving Maine for more than 70 years, we care about your rugs. Clean rugs last longer, and our family takes pride in being the professionals that you can trust. Our cleaning process consists of soaking your rug in a bath, shampooing, rinsing, and drying in a humidity-controlled dry room, making sure no detail is overlooked. Need a repair? We fully service every type of rug for you. Saliba's Rug Cleaners.
We care about your rugs.
Janet Mills is crushing Maine families. Under her watch, Mainers will face rolling blackouts this winter, putting our most vulnerable, like seniors, at risk. And because of Mills and Joe Biden's failed agenda, Mainers will pay 72% more for home heating oil and $60 more each month for groceries. Mainers can't afford more of the failed Mills agenda. Vote no on Janet Mills. The top funder of Maine Families First is Thomas Klingenstein.
I'm Phil Levesque,
president of Lebec Business Solutions. We're a family-owned Maine business since 1963. We're your one-stop shop for great office products at affordable rates. From copiers to office furniture to PPE, we've got it all warehoused right here in Bangor. We're your local small Maine business with a dedicated staff providing honest and friendly customer service, top-of-the-line tech support, and the option of in-house leasing. Let us help you get back to business.
Janet Mills? 4 years ago, we filmed an ad here supporting her. But Janet has been a disaster for the state of Maine. She's driving up inflation, and her decisions have permanently harmed small businesses and our economy.
And she's bad for seniors and Maine families. Mills raised our electric bill, and she's pushing up home heating costs.
We need Paul LePage now.
We've got to vote for Paul LePage.
Jared Golden and the Democrats by the numbers. The worst inflation in 40 years. Home heating, groceries, gasoline, all through the roof. 87,000 new IRS agents. $20 billion in new taxes on the middle class. All because 83% of the time, Jared Golden votes with Biden and Pelosi. On November 8, stop the Democrats' war on the middle class. Defeat Jared Golden. The NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
With just 5 days to go until Election Day, President Biden is sending a stark warning to Americans that the nation's democracy is on the line. Biden directly condemning former President Trump for encouraging other Republicans and supporters to reject the 2020 election results, an act he says has led to a web of conspiracies and surging political violence. ABC's M. Wynn has more from Washington.
President Joe Biden warning the future of American democracy is at stake in next week's midterm elections.
What we're doing now is going to determine whether democracy will long endure.
Biden placing direct blame on his predecessor for refusing to accept the 2020 election results, calling that unsubstantiated mindset destructive.
This is a path to chaos in America. And he's made a big lie, an article of faith in the MAGA Republican Party.
The president appealing to voters to use their ballots to stand up against election lies, deniers, and violence.
We, the people, must decide whether we're going to sustain a republic where reality is accepted, the law is obeyed, and your vote is truly sacred.
But top House Republican Kevin McCarthy on Fox News accusing Biden of dividing the nation instead of uniting it.
They just want to distract from the disasters they created.
As threats against elected officials surge, President Biden linked the January 6 Capitol violence to the attack on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul, at their San Francisco home.
The assailant ended up using a hammer to smash Paul's skull.
U.S. Capitol Police revealing they have cameras surveying the residence, but that they were not being actively monitored because the speaker wasn't there. Last week, the Department of Homeland Security warned in a bulletin obtained by ABC News that violent extremists could pose a heightened threat to the midterm elections.
It should be another wake-up call with respect to the moment that we're in.
The alleged assailant who broke into Pelosi's home is due back in court tomorrow on attempted murder and attempted kidnapping charges. M. Wynn, ABC News, Washington.
Turning to the economy, the Federal Reserve's latest effort to bring down inflation may not be enough. There's a new signal that high prices may be here to stay for a while. ABC's Andrew Dimbert has the latest.
New figures out this morning show companies are still hiring despite looming concerns about an economic slowdown. Private companies added 239,000 jobs last month, while wages increased nearly 8%. And right now, there are 2 jobs available for every worker, meaning employers will likely need to keep raising salaries to attract workers. Those higher labor costs are often passed on to customers, meaning higher prices, fueling more inflation. On Wall Street, stocks tumbling yesterday after the Federal Reserve raised interest rates for the 6th time this year, trying to cool the economy and bring down spending. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell says it's too soon to speculate when the Fed will pause interest rate hikes, suggesting rates could go even higher than expected.
We think there's some ground to cover but before we meet that test, and that's why we say that ongoing rate increases will be appropriate. We may ultimately move to higher levels than we thought.
Meanwhile, inflation is hitting food prices especially hard. In response, grocery chain Aldi is giving its customers an extra reason to be thankful this Thanksgiving. It's resetting prices on Thanksgiving staples, turning back the clock and selling them at 2019 prices, saying it wants to show its commitment to customers who may be struggling. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Deaths from COVID-19 continue to decrease, but the preventable cancer deaths may be on the rise. With more, here's ABC's M. Nguyen.
In an effort to comply with lockdowns and prevent the spread of COVID-19, many had to forego their annual checkup. As a result, far less cancer screenings were done during the pandemic. Researchers from Stony Brook Cancer Center, in coordination with researchers from Italy, say there was around a 50% decrease in cancer screenings globally, meaning many cancers may be missed. Breast cancer, cervical cancer, and colon cancers are some of the most common cancers in the U.S. Screenings for these cancers allow doctors to catch cancer early, increasing the chance of survival significantly. If you or a loved one missed important cancer screenings, be sure to talk to your doctor. With this Medical Minute, I'm M. Nguyen, ABC News.
When we return, Devin Biggs has your 5-day forecast.
I've got plans. We've all got them. But Bruce Poliquin's plans would put Social Security benefits at risk. He planned to raise the retirement age and cap retirees' cost of living increases. He even opposed allowing Medicare to negotiate cheaper drug prices. But Jared Golden didn't just plan. He passed legislation to cap seniors' drug costs and let Medicare negotiate drug prices. Jared Golden is the man with the right plan.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
After 9/11, Jared Golden joined the Marines and served the country he loves. When he returned, he ran for office to serve the state he calls home. He passed legislation to cap the cost of insulin for seniors and lower drug prices for people across Maine. But Bruce Poliquin, he went from Wall Street to Washington to serve himself, taking thousands from drug companies and voting against capping costs. Jared Golden, from here, for us. Moderate PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
If you were hurt because of exposure to the toxic water at Camp Lejeune, Congress has made it possible for you to recover a settlement. Former Marine attorney James Beardsley wants to help you.
Call now to see if you qualify. Call 222-2222.
In Maine, our independence, hard work, and freedoms mean everything, but not to Paul LePage. He's repeatedly attacked women's reproductive freedom. LePage supported letting states ban abortion with no exceptions for rape or incest, defunded family planning programs, and told extremists we shouldn't have abortion. He's a risk to our health and freedom, and it's why we can't go back to Paul LePage. The top funder of Better Maine is the Democratic Governors Association.
The Husson University Eagles take on the Nichols College Bisons this Saturday at noon on ABC 7.
Find half-off deals today and save money by going to foxbangor.com.
Welcome back. For the latest on what's happening in Hollywood, here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Come with me, my love.
You might not be able to tell from the name, but the new movie My Policeman is a film about love. It follows a young couple played by Harry Styles and Emma Corrin and their complicated relationship with an art scholar played by David Dawson.
This film explores love in all its manifestations. It explores the flaws in human nature, our motivations for doing the things we do, and I think it sort of pays homage to memory and the way that the past haunts us and shapes how we then go on to live our lives.
My Policeman starts streaming Friday on Prime Video.
I've been working here since the 7th grade.
That is not the flex you think it is.
New today, Blockbuster is a workplace comedy set in the last remaining Blockbuster video rental store on Earth. That's on Netflix.
No! A normal amount of rage!
And on Disney Plus, go behind the scenes of She-Hulk with Marvel Studios Assembled, the making of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Disney's the parent company of ABC News. The guitar that Kurt Cobain played and then smashed during Nirvana's first ever U.S. tour in 1989 is going up for sale. Julian's Auctions expects it to fetch between $200,000 to $400,000 when it hits the block November 11th. And happy birthday to Kendall Jenner. The model and reality star is 27 today, while longtime Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour is 73. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. I'm Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Netflix is scheduled to roll out its ad-supported tier today. The new subscription plan, called Basic with Ads, will cost $7 a month. It will include 4 to 5 minutes of ads per hour, but it also comes with some limits. Subscribers can't download shows to watch later. Netflix says some TV shows and movies will not be available on the new plan because of licensing restrictions. According to the Wall Street Journal, negotiations continue with major studios on those restrictions. Netflix is trying to boost its subscribers' growth and revenue after a rough start to the year. Now let's check in with Devin Biggs to find out how long this warm weather will last. Devin?
Alrighty, happy Thursday afternoon. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Scott's Recreation, New England's largest trailer dealer, home and Maine's lowest camper and tractor prices, with locations in Turner, Manchester, Herman, and Orono, Maine. Alrighty, clouds are the big story this morning. A few areas, though, but also sunshine. We're seeing plenty of that throughout the rest of the afternoon period as high pressure is right overhead. So you have plenty of reasons to get outside today because we have that warm front right about in here, helping to usher in some warmer air, high pressure located right about in here. So it's a little bit of a cool day today, not too bad, upper 50s, lower 60s, definitely relatively cooler than what we've been putting up with, and definitely well above that average high as well. But otherwise, the winds will be increasing today, getting up to around 20 miles per hour in a few spots. That'll be a southwest wind in a few spots as well. And we're going to keep some of that wind going tonight, but other areas will also back off. Notice the northern parts of the state and closer toward the coast will be under those windy conditions up to 15 miles per hour. But other areas, so like Bangor, looks to calm down overnight tonight as well. But otherwise, wave heights aren't too bad. 2 to 3 feet according to some of the buoys. A lot of dark blue closer toward the shore, so we're calm for now. No small craft advisories in effect at this time, so we're looking pretty good there. Moving forward, a lot of warmer temperatures recently in the 60s and even 70s. Only one day recently, and that's October 28th. We were 53 degrees. That was right near average. Our average high is actually 51 degrees. We'll reach for the upper 50s to lower 60s today, with the middle 60s Friday, possibly some record highs over the weekend too, in the lower 70s, and we fall back into the upper 60s Monday, and then back into the 50s again as we head towards your Tuesday and also into your Wednesday. And yes, I know it's November, and yes, I'm digging out the muggy meter because dew points will be up to the upper 50s as we head towards Saturday and Sunday, parts of your Monday before it falls back down well below that comfortable territory. I know it's weird. It's November, and I'm digging that out because those dew points are definitely higher than what they should be for this time of the year. Of course, your temperature outlook, November 8th through the 12th, where you see these colors right here, indicates good probabilities of us being above average. Our average high is 51 degrees, and we'll be above that moving forward for the next several days. Moving forward, though, futurecast. Here we are, a few clouds sneaking through throughout the time period today. Later on tonight, though, will become mostly clear areas of dense fog could develop yet again. That'll burn off as the sun rises, with a few passing clouds as we head towards Friday afternoon, and maybe a few clouds trying to sneak in as we head towards Friday evening. Today, upper 50s, lower 60s, a few clouds, also breezy. Southwest wind gusting up to around 20 miles per hour. For tonight, lower 40s, mostly clear, some areas of dense fog. Southwest breeze at about 5 miles per hour, but some other areas can see some higher wind gusts up to 15 miles per hour at times. Middle 60s tomorrow, though, partly cloudy, southwest wind up to around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Scott's Recreation extended forecast. We're dry Saturday, mostly sunny, highs in the lower 70s. A small chance of rain on Sunday, otherwise mostly cloudy, highs in the lower 70s. Also, the time change as 2 a.m. becomes 1 a.m. Monday, mostly sunny, highs in the upper 60s.
Thank you, Devin. It's been really gorgeous out walking the dog, and I guess it's going to be good weather, so it looks like it might be a good time to get out there and do some of the yard work and get ready for winter and that colder weather that we know is bound to show up sooner or later. That's all for ABC 7 News at noon. Thanks for watching. I'm Susan Farley. We'll see you this evening with Peter Dubois and Beth Jones on ABC 7 News at 6. Have a great afternoon.
If they have your personal information, anyone can be you. Spectrum One keeps your personal data safe and private. That's privacy protection. That's Spectrum One.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.